So it's spring break right now for my kids, and I didn't really think I was going to get any recording done because they're home. But lo and behold, I found myself here in this moment of peace in the house, and I thought that I would just come and jump on right now. So I don't have anything planned. I mean, I don't really have anything written down. I haven't organized a whole lot to talk to you guys about, but I took my opportunity because it was there and it felt right. So what's happening right now is thank God, thank Source for neighbor kids because we have a sweet boy that lives right behind us. We share a fence and he goes to my older son's school. He's 5. So my youngest is 4, then our neighbor friend is 5, and then my older son Austin is 6. So it's actually just perfect. He's right in between their ages. He can play with both of them. And one thing about my boys is, well, first of all, they've been getting along way better, way better lately. I know I told you guys that I would do an update on the sleeping positive expectations that I've been saying to them when they've been sleeping. And I haven't really done an update, but it's been working like a charm. It's been transformative. But they definitely get along better when they have another friend in the mix. It changes the whole dynamic and everything goes smoothly. They play so well together, and it offers me an opportunity to kind of not have to entertain the boys. So they're out there playing. I can literally see them right now jumping on the trampoline together as I sit here recording for you. So you might hear them. I'm sure the microphone could pick up on some screaming, yelling, or playing. So I thought that I might kind of do an update on how things are going with the kids and their relationship and this little practice that I've engaged in with them in order to transform behavior in the positive direction. So, welcome to the episode on sleeping subliminals. I started offering these subliminal messages to the boys when I really felt at the end of my rope because they were fighting all the time. They just could not seem to get along. Like, them playing well together was a rarity. And though I coveted those times and did all I could to appreciate them when they were happening, I could tell that the energy was off because I found myself expecting the conflict. I would be in the other room and I would hear a noise because I knew that they were together in the other room. And as soon as I would hear a noise, I automatically would jump to they're fighting. And that's hard not to do because we're creatures of habit. And we kind of learn to expect things that have happened in the past to happen again. So I noticed that I was doing this. So I knew I had some responsibility in the conflicts between them because I'm offering a vibrational frequency and my energy has influence. So I wanted to turn that around. And doing these nightly subliminal messages to the boys when they're sleeping not only promoted positive change in them directly, but it actually changed my energy because I believed in what I was doing and I started to expect positive change because of what I was doing. I say things like, well, for like my older son, he was having a hard time in school. And so I would say things like, your teacher likes you, schoolwork comes easy to you. You're really good at math and writing and reading, and you really like going to school. Now, that seems kind of weird. And if anybody buys into toxic positivity, then that probably doesn't feel like it resonates well with you. Because when you say something that you don't believe to be true, that's what people refer to as toxic positivity. And if you've listened to my episode on toxic positivity, you know that I have a different view. I don't really buy into toxic positivity in the same way that most people do, but it can feel really strange when you're saying things that contradict what you observe. But that's the first step in turning things around to go the direction that you want them to go. You have to actually change the way you think in order for reality to change for you. And it seems backwards. It seems backwards to say that something is a certain way when it's not yet. But that is how law of attraction works. So if you are working to be a deliberate creator, that's what you have to do. And I'm here to tell you, it felt weird for me too. It didn't feel organic to me at first. It felt like I was lying. It felt like I was faking it when I'm saying these things. But what was really happening is their inner being, which never sleeps. Your inner being never sleeps. That's a human thing. Their inner being was receiving that at that moment. Their inner being is always aware of what's going on, is always alert, is always focused on them, okay? And focused on the vibrational reality in non-physical. So when I was saying these things, I wasn't lying. I was speaking to the vibrational reality that does exist. Because my son was having a hard time in school, that offered the contrast in his life for him to want something different. So he had already asked for improvement through his energy. That's how we all do it. Whenever something happens that we don't like, we automatically are asking for what we do like, what we do want. It's an automatic thing that happens. We don't even have to be aware of it. So I know how he feels about school. So I was just speaking to that vibrational reality which already exists because he created it. And that was just reinforcing it. It was giving it more power. Now, the reason that it's helpful is because when any of us are in a sleeping state, we have stopped the momentum of wake life and we're more receptive. So that's why subliminals, when we're sleeping, have an impact on us. It just puts you more into that receptive mode and puts you in a place of allowing more of what you want. So I was just reinforcing the energy that my son had already created. And I was giving it back to him in a way to where he could be more open and receptive to it. Like I'm talking to him about these things when he's awake too. But there's a lot more resistance that comes with thinking about things when you're awake. And he had a lot of negativity associated with life at school. But when he's sleeping, none of that negativity is there. All that momentum is also sleeping. It's in its sleeping state. So it's nothing but receptive mode. For my younger son, I would focus more on things like your brother is your best friend. You play so well with your brother. You feel so loved by your brother. And all those things also true. Also alive and thriving in vibrational reality. When my younger son would fight with my older son, that was contrast, which was allowing him to ask for what he wanted, which was a better relationship with Austin. He wanted to play better with him. He didn't like fighting with him. So I, again, was just reinforcing that. Now, the cool thing about this, for me particularly, is that both of my kids, they have a bunk bed. So they have the same bedroom. So if I'm saying something to one of them, the other one is also receiving it. So ultimately, I'm really saying everything to both of them at the same time. But I individualize it for the vibrational reality which I am aware of, which they have created. So I started doing this. It felt really weird at first. And then I started to look for the changes, to look for the positive changes in their behaviors. And it was amazing. I saw it almost immediately. The way that they started interacting with each other was like night and day from how they had been interacting with each other. And now, fighting conflicts between them, that is the rarity. And they get along most of the time. It's changed everything for our whole family dynamic because we all get upset when the boys are fighting, right? We don't want that. And of course, as parents, we want to intervene and we want to resolve the issue and move past it. So there was a lot of times sitting in timeout. There was a lot of taking away privileges. There was a lot of negative reinforcement going on in order to try to correct the behavior, and it wasn't working. We also did rewards. We have a star chart, and rewards kind of worked sometimes, but they really started working in concert with the subliminals that I started doing at night. All of a sudden, I was putting stars on the chart all the time. Everything just kind of came together in a really positive way once I started doing this. So I was doing it every night at first, and I was kind of changing things up from time to time and really just trying to reinforce what I want to impart on them. So I started saying things like, "You are a powerful creator. You are love. You are here to be love. You feel loved by others, and you love others. And you love yourself." A lot of messages about love. I say things like, "We are such a happy family. We all love each other so much. And we all appreciate each other and respect each other." And things like that. Just kind of things that as a parent, you really want to be happening. You really want those messages to get through. But sometimes it can be difficult given comprehension based on their age. And that's another cool thing about this, because when they're sleeping, their inner being has no age, right? And the messages are able to get through in an easier way for them to comprehend it because they're receiving it vibrationally. They're not receiving it auditorily. They're receiving it on a deeper level. It has a feeling to it. And I would feel this way. I felt my way through these subliminals with them. Oftentimes I would well up with tears. I was feeling so much love and appreciation for them as I'm saying these things to them. That is powerful energy, powerful, positive energy. So I'm doing this. I'm doing this every night as a practice, feeling really grateful that my kids are at the point where I can enter into their bedroom without them waking up. Although my younger one has a tendency to be more of a light sleeper. He stirs around a little bit sometimes when I go in there. He's even woken up before, but then he just lays back down. It's easy for him to go back to sleep. But then it started to feel like a chore, like something I had to do before I went to bed. And that didn't feel good. So I kind of dialed it back a little bit. And I just started going in there every now and again. And that's been enough. Everything continues to be on the positive end. The boys continue to get along well. Things have drastically improved for my older son at school. And ultimately, I think it's because there's a lot of momentum going now in the positive direction. So basically, I just kind of interrupted the momentum that we had going, and I have redirected it in the direction I wanted it to go. And I couldn't be happier about it. It seriously is a total game changer for my family. And sometimes the things that I say to them subliminally come back to me in when we're awake and interacting in a way where I'm like, well, first of all, I'm like, whoa, I can't believe that they just said that to me in the way that they did. And it just reinforces that what I'm saying to them is getting through and it's attaching. They are taking hold of it when they're sleeping, and then they repeat it to me in our waking life in a way where I haven't said that to them directly when they've been awake, only when sleeping. So now I know, oh my gosh, they heard me. But also, they are showing signs of great empowerment because I have been reinforcing that when they've been sleeping, right? I've been in there and empowering them as these creators and emissaries of love. My son's filling up his water gun right now, if you can hear that. So my son started saying things like, you can't make me do anything. Or my inner being says I don't have to do that. Things like that. And that actually came up at school. But at first, I was like, hey, I'm your mom. So if I say it, you got to do it. You know, that whole authoritarian kind of position. But because I was able to recognize the information as what I had been imparting on him, I didn't take offense and I didn't respond in that way because I realized that it's true. No, nobody can make you do anything. You are the creator of your reality, of your life, even as a child. This is your life. Create it to be the way you want it to be. And he was exercising that. He was letting me know, you can't make me do that. So then, of course, we have to have a lot of conversations about, okay, yeah, nobody can make you do anything, but we have this respectful relationship here. And I am your mom, and I am looking out for you, and I want the best for you. And you know that, right? He tells me yes. And I say, well, then we have to find a way to work together. And he's very open to that. You know, he's not saying, you can't make me do this, and digging his heels in and being defiant. It was more of a, you can't make me do this. Like, it was more informative. It was more like, you know, if I don't feel like doing this, I don't have to. I am my own being. And he's not wrong. He's right. So I'm not going to break that down because it is my intention to raise confident and empowered children. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we do raising kids or having kids in the school system is demanding respect for authority and doing what authority figures say just because they're an authority figure. And then when kids come out of school and they go into the real world, all of a sudden now we expect them to be confident, to be empowered, to be ambitious, to go after what they want, to not give up, and to push for being who they are, right? It's complete opposite of what we train them to do as children. And it's one of the one things I would change if I could in how we interact with kids, because then they have to go and undo it all as adults. So I don't want that to happen with my kids. I want my kids to be prepared for adulthood and to know who they are, to have a sense of confidence in who they are, and know that their purpose comes from a place of love. That can never backfire, ever. If they can really, I was going to say, if they can really learn that from me, but that's not really the truth, is it? They already know it. So I am just trying to not train them out of it. And I recognize that that's a mistake that a lot of adults make with kids. So when he exercises his power with me, I try not to push back, and I try to support it in a positive way to where he's not using it for defiance, but he is using it for being a powerful creator, which he is. Recently, my older son said, "Dad doesn't upset me anymore." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, Dad yells, but I don't cry anymore." And then I said, "Well, how did you do that and why?" And he said, "My inner being tells me that I don't need to cry about that." And I mean, how can you not love that? He is coming from a place of connection with who he really is. And he's not bothered by somebody else's behavior. I mean, it was a beautiful realization, and the fact that he was able to verbalize that clearly to me, I mean, this boy is going places, and I'm excited to see where he takes it. He's already so spiritually mature because I'm not undoing that. He speaks about his past lives. He talks about his inner being. He knows he has an inner being. He asked to meditate with me today and did so for 10 whole minutes. He has a spiritual foundation and he's connected to it. And I'm going to do everything I can to reinforce that in any way I possibly can. He oftentimes knows things that he shouldn't know. He's in tune. And I'm proud of him. Really, really proud of him. So I just wanted to kind of do this as an update for you guys to let you guys know that the sleeping subliminals that I've been doing have completely changed our lives. And I even sometimes am able to just do it energetically. So I don't even go into their room. I can just find a quiet space within myself, tune into them, and say what I want to say like that. Because if you know how to do that energetically, to tune into your own source vibrationally, then you can connect with anybody. And I choose to connect with their inner being vibrationally when I tune in, even though I'm not in the room with them. And it works just the same. So really, this is kind of an evolving thing for me, and I'm learning a lot while I do it. And it's kind of cool and really exciting because who doesn't want their kids to enjoy life and get along with each other and love each other and just be an example of love in the world? And I think that my boys are doing a pretty good job of that. So maybe you'd like to try it. Maybe there's some things going on with your own kids that you could just give them a little bit of boost in any positive direction. This doesn't work negatively, so you don't have to worry about messing anything up. It only works when you are aligned with the higher good for all parties involved. That is the only way you have influential power. This is not like mind control and getting people to do things that you want them to do as a power-hungry kind of tyrant kind of way. It's not like that. My intentions for the boys are wholesome and from a place of love. And I am connecting with them energetically through that love that I'm feeling. And that's how you promote well-being for anybody. You can do this for anybody. It doesn't have to be your kids. You can line up with well-being for anyone you think about. All you have to do is find that feeling place in yourself while holding your attention on that person. Now, you don't even have to think thoughts. You don't even have to think positive expectations or positive affirmations. You don't have to do any of that. If you can just hold somebody as your focus while feeling love and appreciation, You've now influenced that person in the best of ways. And you know what? I'm doing that right now for all of you. I hope you can feel it. I have all the love in the world for you. Go forth and create. Make the world a better place. If you like being able to watch the podcast, make sure to let me know by subscribing to this channel.